Have you ever been in a situation where you really wanted to get closer to a woman, to connect on a deeper, more intimate level, but didn't know how to bring it up? What if I told you there's a way to ask for that connection in a way that works and also lines up with the timeless ideas of Stoicism? Today, we're diving into a simple psychological approach that can completely change how you think about intimacy. Plus, it'll help you feel more confident, steady, and in control of your emotions. Picture this. You're sitting with a woman you've been dating for a while. There's a strong bond, and you feel ready to take things to the next level. But instead of feeling sure of yourself, you're nervous. You're worried about what to say. What if she says no? What if she pulls away? Here's the thing, though. Those are the wrong questions. The real question is, how can you use Stoicism to change the way the situation feels, so she not only feels comfortable but is as interested in getting closer as you are? Stick with me for the next few minutes, and by the end of this video, you'll know how to ask for intimacy in a way that's respectful, smart, and based on Stoic philosophy. This isn't just typical dating advice. This is about mastering how to connect emotionally and psychologically in a way most guys completely miss. Hey, this is James. I'm here to help you develop a Stoic mindset to master your relationships with women and take control of your dating life. If you're ready to level up, hit that subscribe button now. So let's dive in. First up, the power of vulnerability mixed with strength. At first, this might sound like two opposites, but when you get it right, it creates an irresistible effect. Here's the thing. A lot of people think vulnerability means weakness or sharing too much, but that's not what it's about. Real vulnerability is just being your true self, open and honest about how you feel, without coming off as needy or desperate. In Stoicism, vulnerability is all about showing who you really are, while still staying in control of your emotions. When it comes to expressing intimacy, do it with calmness and clarity. For example, you could say something like, "I've really enjoyed the time we've spent together, and I feel a strong connection with you. I'd like to take things to a more intimate level because I believe it could make our relationship even stronger." Now, why is this so effective? First, it's direct and clear. You're not playing games or tiptoeing around the subject. Second, it's respectful. You're not demanding anything or making her feel pressured. You're simply putting the idea out there for her to consider. And third, it's focused on the relationship, not just your personal desires. You're saying you believe intimacy could deepen the bond between you both. But why does balancing vulnerability with strength work so well? It taps into something we all want, a real connection. When you show vulnerability, you're signaling that you're open to forming that deeper connection. And when you combine it with strength, you're showing that you're not desperate or needy, but confident and secure in yourself. This combo is incredibly attractive because it makes her feel safe and builds trust. Women are more likely to respond positively to intimacy when they feel secure, knowing that the person they're with is emotionally available and stable. Next up is the Stoic Art of Patience, letting her set the pace. Patience is one of the most powerful principles of Stoicism, and in today's fast-moving world, it's a rare but highly attractive trait. When it comes to intimacy, patience is key, and it's important to let her take the lead on how things progress. But don't get me wrong, being patient doesn't mean you just sit back and do nothing. Instead, you stay engaged, present, and in tune with her feelings. In Stoicism, patience isn't about simply waiting around. It's an active process. You observe, understand, and allow things to unfold naturally, without trying to rush or force them. When it comes to intimacy, this means recognizing that everyone has their own comfort level and pace. Trying to speed things up can create unnecessary stress and discomfort for both of you. So, after you've expressed your feelings about wanting to take things to the next level, the next step is to give her some space. She needs time to process and think about it, and yes, the silence that comes after can feel a bit awkward, but it's actually very important. This quiet moment gives her the chance to reflect on her own emotions, desires, and comfort level without feeling pushed or rushed. During this time, maintain eye contact, Stay relaxed and keep your body language open. The way you sit or stand should show that you're confident and in no hurry. You're showing her that you're okay with moving at whatever pace feels comfortable for her. This shows respect and creates a space where she feels safe to express her thoughts and feelings. This type of patience is extremely powerful. It signals to her that you're not just looking for physical closeness, but that you care about building a deeper connection based on respect and understanding. When you show patience, it tells her that you truly respect her feelings and boundaries. You're not in a rush to make things happen before she's ready, and that means a lot. Plus, patience is a huge sign of emotional maturity. It shows that you have control over your desires instead of letting them control you. This kind of emotional strength is rare, and it's very attractive because it proves you can handle not just physical intimacy, but also the emotions that come with it. Now let's talk about the subtle art of suggestion. This is where the real psychological magic happens. Instead of outright asking for intimacy, you can gently plant the idea, giving her the space to think about it on her own. This taps into the power of suggestion, a quiet yet powerful psychological tool. The power of suggestion works because it allows the other person to take in the idea and make it their own. When you plant a suggestion, you're not pushing your wants onto her. Instead, you're opening up the idea for her to explore at her own pace. You could say something like, "I feel like getting closer to you would be so natural for us, don't you?" This isn't a direct ask. It's more like a soft nudge, letting her picture the intimacy herself. It's not about convincing her, but rather inviting her to consider the idea on her terms. This approach works because it respects her independence and gently encourages intimacy to feel like a natural, shared step forward, rather than something being pushed on her. By planting the idea in her mind, you're giving her the space to own it, which makes her more likely to embrace it. But just suggesting intimacy isn't enough. You need to nurture that idea. After you've made the suggestion, keep building emotional and physical closeness in small, thoughtful ways. Maybe you increase the little moments of affection, like holding her hand more often or giving her a warm hug. These simple gestures create a sense of comfort and connection, making intimacy feel more natural and appealing. At the same time, be mindful of her reactions. If she seems comfortable and open, build on that momentum slowly. If she's hesitant, give her more space and time. The key is to stay patient and observant, letting the idea of intimacy grow naturally instead of pushing it forward too quickly. Next, the importance of authenticity and connection. Let's talk about something super important: being real and true to yourself. Imagine you're on a fun date with a woman you really like. You're chatting, laughing, and sharing stories. This is what being authentic is all about: being yourself and showing your true feelings. When you do this, it helps create a special bond between you and her. So what does it mean to be authentic? It means you don't pretend to be someone you're not. Think of it like looking in a mirror and saying, "This is me." When you show your real self, she can sense your sincerity, making her feel safe and comfortable enough to share her true self too. Let's say you're sitting at a table with her. You start telling a funny story from when you were a kid. Maybe it's about the time you got lost at a fair but ended up finding the best cotton candy. As you share this story, you notice her smiling and leaning closer, excited to hear more. Why do you think that is? Because you're not just talking, you're sharing pieces of your life. And when you do that, it encourages her to open up and share her stories too. Now here's the cool thing about being real. It builds trust. When you're honest about your feelings, she can tell you're being sincere. It's like sending a signal that says, "I trust you, and I want to connect with you." This doesn't mean you have to share everything on the first date. No one wants to hear your whole life story right away. But telling a little about your life can help you both feel closer. And let's talk about being vulnerable for a moment. Some guys think showing vulnerability is a bad thing, like it makes you weak. But guess what? It actually makes you strong. When you let your guard down and show your true feelings, it shows confidence. It's like saying, "I'm proud of who I am." This is very much in line with Stoic philosophy, which teaches us that we can't control how she feels, but we can control how we act. When you're authentic, you're in charge of your own story, and that's really powerful. From a Stoic perspective, being authentic means not worrying too much about what she thinks of you. It's all about being the best version of yourself. When you are real, you show that you're comfortable with who you are, and that's super attractive. Plus, it encourages her to be her true self too. So, as you meet new women, remember to be yourself. Think about your own experiences. Have you ever felt really happy when a woman shared her true feelings with you? Or maybe you felt a little weird when someone was trying too hard to impress you? In the end, being authentic is about creating a fun and genuine connection with women. Share your stories, be open about how you feel, and encourage her to do the same. When you approach intimacy with honesty, you're not just making a connection, you're building something special that's filled with trust and respect. And that's where real friendships and relationships begin. Now let's talk about building anticipation and the power of delayed gratification. Stoicism teaches us that waiting for something can often make it more rewarding, and this applies perfectly to intimacy. When you rush things, you often lose the depth and meaning behind the moment. Delayed gratification is all about resisting the urge for an immediate reward, knowing that waiting will make it more satisfying and valuable later on. Instead of seeking instant gratification, try focusing on building anticipation. This isn't about playing hard to get or trying to manipulate things. It's about creating a deeper emotional connection. When intimacy eventually happens, it will feel more meaningful and special for both of you. To build this anticipation, focus on creating memorable experiences that strengthen your bond. Have deep conversations, share personal stories, or spend time doing things you both love. These shared experiences will help you connect on a deeper level, making the eventual intimacy feel richer and more fulfilling than it would if rushed. Another way to build anticipation is through small, subtle touches. For example, you can hold hands more often, give gentle hugs, or sit closer to her when you're together. These simple gestures help create a sense of closeness and connection without rushing into anything physical. The secret to delayed gratification is realizing that the journey is just as important as the destination. By taking your time and focusing on building a strong emotional foundation, you ensure that the eventual intimacy will feel more rewarding and meaningful. Not only will this make the physical connection more special, but it will also strengthen your relationship as a whole. Plus, having the patience to wait shows self-control and emotional maturity. It proves that you're not just focused on instant physical pleasure, but on creating something deeper and lasting. This level of self-discipline is highly attractive because it shows that you're interested in more than just the physical side of things. You're focused on building a genuine, meaningful bond. Alright, before we jump back in, if you're finding this helpful, hit that like button. It helps YouTube share this with more men who need it, and it keeps the content coming. It's quick, free, and it makes a real difference. Thanks. Let's get back to it. Next, let's talk about emotional intelligence, which is key to any strong relationship, especially when it comes to intimacy. Stoicism encourages us to be in tune with our own emotions, but just as important is being aware of how others feel. Emotional intelligence is all about recognizing, understanding, and managing both your own feelings and the emotions of those around you. When you're spending time with her, pay close attention to her body language, her tone of voice, and the little signals she might be sending. These subtle cues can tell you a lot about how she's feeling and help you respond in the most thoughtful and caring way. For example, if she seems unsure or uncomfortable, it's important to acknowledge that and give her the space to share what she's feeling. You could say something like, "I notice you're a bit quiet. How are you feeling about what we're talking about?" This shows that you're not just thinking about what you want, but you're tuned in to how she's feeling. Women appreciate someone who is thoughtful and genuinely cares about their comfort and well-being. This level of emotional intelligence is pretty rare, and it's very attractive. But it's not just about noticing her feelings, it's about how you react to them. If she seems hesitant, don't try to push or convince her. Instead, acknowledge her feelings and make it clear that you respect her boundaries. You could say, "I get it if you're not ready, and I really want you to feel comfortable. Let's take things at a pace that works for you." Responding like this shows you're not only focused on your own desires but are truly thinking about her needs and comfort, which is a key part of Stoic philosophy. Being emotionally intelligent also means staying aware of your own feelings and how they influence your behavior. For example, if you start feeling nervous or impatient, take a moment to pause and think before saying anything. This kind of self-awareness helps you stay calm and in control of your actions, rather than letting emotions take over. Next, understanding boundaries and consent. Let's talk about something really important: understanding boundaries and consent. When you're spending time with a woman you're interested in, it's crucial to respect her boundaries. Boundaries are like invisible lines that help both of you understand what feels okay and what doesn't. Everyone has different boundaries based on their feelings and experiences, and it's essential to recognize that what feels comfortable for you may not be the same for her. Pay attention to how she reacts during your interactions. If she seems relaxed and engaged, that's a positive sign. However, if she appears uncomfortable, like fidgeting or avoiding eye contact, those are indications that she might not be ready for intimacy. Instead of pushing ahead, it's better to check in and ask how she feels about your connection. You can say something like, "I really enjoy our time together. How do you feel about it?" This shows that you care about her feelings and creates space for an open conversation. Consent means getting clear agreement from her before moving forward. It's not just about physical intimacy, it's also about emotional closeness. Just because there's a connection doesn't mean she's automatically ready to take things further. Always ask for her consent and ensure she feels comfortable. A simple question like, "Would you be okay with us getting closer?" shows respect for her autonomy. From a Stoic viewpoint, understanding boundaries and consent reflects emotional control and respect for others. While you can't control her reactions, you can control how you respond. By valuing her boundaries, you demonstrate maturity and thoughtfulness, qualities that are attractive. In moments of rejection or hesitation, Stoicism encourages you to remain calm. If she isn't ready to move forward, accept it without frustration. This mindset allows you to focus on the relationship's journey rather than just the outcome. Respecting boundaries and seeking consent builds trust. This trust is vital for any healthy relationship. The more you communicate openly about what feels good and what doesn't, the stronger your connection can become. You show her that you value her feelings and view her as an equal partner. As you explore dating and intimacy, keep in mind the importance of boundaries and consent. Approach each interaction with a genuine heart and an open mind. When you do this, the connections you build will be stronger and more meaningful, as relationships are built on understanding, respect, and a shared bond. Next, the role of self-control, being in charge of your desires. Self-control is a key part of Stoicism, and it plays a huge role when it comes to intimacy. Being in control of your desires doesn't mean you have to hide or ignore them. Instead, it means not letting them take over your actions or cloud your judgment. When you approach someone about intimacy, it's important to come from a place of calm and control. This means you're not acting out of lust or desperation, but from a real desire for a deeper connection. Women can tell when a man is in control of himself, and it's a quality that earns respect and trust. Self-control, in the context of intimacy, means finding a balance between expressing what you want and being mindful of her comfort. For example, if you start feeling impatient or frustrated because things aren't moving as fast as you'd like, take a moment to step back and think about the bigger picture. Intimacy isn't just about being close physically. It's about building emotional trust, connection, and mutual respect. By practicing self-control, you show that you're not only focused on instant gratification, but that you care about building something real and meaningful. It also means handling things like rejection or a slower pace with grace. If things don't go as you expected, or if she's not ready yet, your ability to stay calm and understanding will truly make you stand out. This is where Stoic philosophy really shines. You're not fixated on the outcome, and your peace of mind doesn't depend on how she responds. By practicing self-control, you show that your self-worth comes from within, and that you're capable of handling the emotional layers that intimacy can bring. This kind of maturity isn't just attractive, it's crucial, for building a healthy, meaningful relationship. Next, communicating value, the importance of mutual respect and growth. When it comes to intimacy, it's important to show that you see it as something that can benefit both of you, not just something you want for yourself. It's about what you both can share together. You might express something like, "I think growing closer could bring us more happiness and understanding." It's not just about physical closeness, but about growing together emotionally and spiritually. This shifts the focus from simply physical pleasure to a connection built on mutual respect and personal growth. It shows that you value her as a person and see intimacy as part of a larger, more meaningful journey. You're not just focused on what you want, but also on what you can both experience and achieve together. This way of communicating shows her that you're thinking long-term and that you care about her growth and well-being as much as your own. In Stoicism, relationships are about more than just individual gains. They're about contributing to something greater. When you approach intimacy as a shared experience that helps both of you grow, you show a level of maturity and depth that's rare, and it's something that naturally draws people in. Next, the Stoic perspective on rejection, handling it with grace. Let's talk about rejection because, let's face it, it's always a possibility when discussing intimacy. From a Stoic viewpoint, rejection is just another event. It doesn't define who you are or the value of your relationship. If she isn't ready or doesn't feel the same way, it's important to accept that calmly and respectfully. You could say something like, "I respect your feelings and appreciate your honesty. I'm glad we can talk about this openly." Responding this way shows emotional maturity and strength, qualities that are naturally attractive. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control how others react, we always have control over how we respond. By handling rejection with dignity, you reaffirm your own self-worth and show that you're not shaken by the outcome. Rejection isn't the end of the story. It's just part of the bigger journey. Accepting it with grace shows that you're not overly attached to the outcome and that you have confidence in your own value. This kind of emotional resilience is rare and powerful because it shows you can navigate the ups and downs of a relationship with poise and understanding. To wrap things up, let's quickly go over the main points about asking for intimacy from a woman through the lens of Stoicism. It's all about being self-aware, patient, and respecting both her feelings and your own. When you talk about intimacy, do it with a mix of vulnerability and strength. Use gentle psychological cues and embrace the principles of Stoicism, which will help you handle this sensitive topic with confidence and grace. Remember, true Stoicism in love isn't about hiding your feelings or desires. It's about mastering them. Think of intimacy as a shared adventure where both partners feel valued, respected, and understood. As you apply these ideas, you'll notice not just an improvement in how you approach intimacy, but also in your emotional resilience and your connections with others. That's the magic of Stoicism. It's a philosophy that, when woven into relationships, can lead to deeper, more meaningful bonds. Thanks for joining me on this journey into Stoic intimacy. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content that explores the psychological and philosophical sides of relationships. Until next time, stay strong, stay stoic, and keep working towards being the best version of yourself.